We have Autonomy Season 13 coming up in a couple weeks. And if you are living your dream, thriving at your job, your family's all squared away, everything's going good, you would still benefit from Autonomy. You could have a lot of fun, and that would be a nice, relaxing way to get this type of knowledge. Most people, they got too much to do. They don't have any time. They don't have enough money, and they're the ones who need the skills the most, because the first scenario is a case where people are using these skills. They learn to make an offer more times to bring in more money than what they need. It greatly reduces the stress and fear and unknowns and ambiguity. Like, money doesn't fix everything. But if you don't know how to make your offer and go get more money than you need, your cortisol, your adrenal system, everything's stressed out from fear, and the unknown. This is the one area where you could start to mitigate that, because learning some methods and applying those methods and learning how to show up for yourself and all the other things that they could have taught us in an education, but we didn't get in the school indoctrination, we need to backfill. And we need to probably backfill quicker, sooner than later, because there's a huge opportunity cost to waiting years to get these skills between your ears. Now, 12 weeks a year, we get together, we have people from all over the world who are interested in either returning to the course and continuing to grow. So there's a whole bunch of graduates that go through every season, or new people who have just found out about Autonomy and the fact that, they might not even recognize the root causes. They just have a bunch of symptoms. Those symptoms are learned helplessness, extended adolescence, scarcity mentality, and not enough money in your bank account to start with. And those are all things that you can learn to control and control the levels of. And as you turn down your scarcity and your fear, and you make room for creativity and opportunity and building your skills, your income and your offer to the market go up, because your utility, your usefulness of what you can do for others becomes higher value. Okay? So the people who say, I can't afford Autonomy, you are the ones I created it for, and you're the ones who need it, so you don't have that problem for the rest of your life. Okay? If I would have depended on my college education, I would have found that a cruel and unusual experience. And that's what a lot of people were stuck to. Luckily, I had enough foresight to see opportunity, to have enough courage to invest in myself, enough creativity to borrow the money, to buy into the franchise, where I learned some of the techniques and tactics and methods and strategies and principles I teach in Autonomy. But that's not where all the material comes from. It's just where my initial success came from, in a 200x return on my investment from making a $5,000 investment into my education while I was in school, trying to pay for school. I learned how to run my own business, which by the time I went into the job world, into the corporate world, that's a super high value skill, knowing how to solve problems for big companies, and they pay you well for that. And I was so good at it that I found some flaws in their system and tried to bring it up and became a whistleblower. And it's at that point when these skills really saved my life. Because if I didn't have those skills, I would have had to compromise my integrity. I probably would have had to turn my head and cough, because I don't know how else to get money in this market. So I'm going to have to do some things that are a little shady. Luckily, I had the courage and bravery because I had the competence and confidence. I know how to go walk on my own. I don't need to compromise my integrity to keep my job. Unfortunately, a lot of people, all they do is know how to compromise their own and other people's integrity to submarine the person next to them, to give them a better chance at surviving. It's a very Darwinian way of looking at it. It's a survival of the fittest. It's very ruthless and cutthroat and sharks, swimming with sharks type of thing. And you can do better than that. You don't need that. But that's where most people find like their default, because they don't add skills on their own beyond what's easily offered at school and university. So if you are interested in making yourself more of who you can be and igniting your potential and directing it toward your goals and mapping your dreams into reality, then all you need to do is go to getautonomy.info, watch the videos on the page, go through the primer course, get your questions answered, talk to a graduate, and only then can you find out about options, because it's not for everybody. And the people who are excelling in the course are the people who make it through that through that process without making excuses for themselves, without quitting on themselves. Because if you can't do those two things, you're not ready to invest in yourself. You'll just disappoint yourself again. When you're ready to stop disappointing yourself and get your move on and up your mojo, then you go to getautonomy.info, and classes start in just a couple weeks. So Opportunities knocking. Carpe diem.
So 6 stages of debugging, right?
Yeah.
That can't happen, right? That doesn't happen that in my machine. That shouldn't happen. Why does that happen? Oh, I see. How did that ever work?
Now, where'd you get that shirt? Is that a design you made?
No, no. It's an Amazon shirt
I was gonna
somewhere.
say because that could be a real popular shirt right there. There's a lot of
Yeah, it's
people who could have
perfect
a shirt like
timing.
that.
Yeah.
That's
Really enjoyed
fantastic.
this season. I just wanted to give you feedback. It was really impressive.
Well, thank you, because you're one of the more challenging clients here, Ron. Because if I remember correctly, when I talked to you about coming into this course, you're like, I already know everything you're going to teach in this course already. But my point was the community value, the people you're going to
Yeah.
meet here, the friends you make, those experiences. That's the thing that we have that you didn't have yet. And I'm glad that you made it all the way through the end of the season. And not only that, dude, but you took it seriously every part of the way. And at every step of the way, you've been super helpful to other students who have questions, especially like in the accountability group, your leadership and helping Badria nail down some of these things that were really like those are challenges that she's embraced, and you've made it much easier for your fellow students to embrace those types of things. So I appreciate you and your experience and your leadership perspective, because you've brought a warmth of generosity, and it's refreshing but not unexpected or surprising coming from you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, my life purpose is to help people be the best they can be through my example somehow. So
Well,
I,
it's
I
a
love helping
current
people.
inaction thing. It's not a someday maybe for you. You're doing it.
I love it. And my wife has been here through the whole process. She's gone through all the lectures and just been sitting here, usually in the shadows. So tonight she's like, "Hey, I went through this too."
Well, that's fantastic that you guys have been listening together, because now you're on the same page and you can speak in common vernaculars, and all those wonderful things can come through. And that's a another example of leadership, because that's a smart efficiency creating thing that you're doing long term for your relationship.
Yeah. Anything you want to add?
I enjoyed, the lesson. Sometimes they're long, Richard, but they are well worth listening.
Well,
And
thank you.
yeah, they are. And today and tonight, I mean, I'm still here and it's almost past my
Well,
bedtime.
for him, add 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Thank you. Thank
it's
you.
almost 2 your time, right?
Well, thank you. It's almost to my time. But these types of things are important, and when I designed the course, it was like we need to expand our attention spans somewhat. So it doesn't need to be grandiose, but I do need to get certain concepts in there, and there does need to be a design to it where it's self-reinforcing throughout the lecture. And once I felt like I had completed what I needed to for the lecture, that's when the slide creation stopped and the let's do it begins. But all the lectures are pretty much the same as when I first issued them in 2019. We made improvements throughout and tweaks and stuff, but like the flow of the lectures, the length of the lectures has pretty much remained unchanged. And many of the clips that we use to illustrate points are the same as we used. So it's not that I'm not open to improvement, but I'm also a fan of it. If it ain't broken, don't fix it, because then you can get to the other things that you need to do faster.
So I think one impossible improvement, if you're open to feedback,
Oh yeah, what do you got?
um, you know, when you do the breaks,
Yeah.
there may be breaks for you,
But
but we
not for
but we
us.
watch the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no breaks for us. So
Well, I figure sometimes people aren't like they don't feel like they have to be sitting there taking notes. You can get up and you can dust your countertop, or you could do
yes,
something while you're internalizing something that you can know that you can readily find on YouTube and watch more by that creator,
yeah,
right?
but we want to watch
So,
it, right?
yeah.
We'd love to watch it.
Oh, I
So I
watch
just
them all
think,
too. I
I just
mean,
think
Rick
like a 10 minute
Rigsby still
break
makes
and
me cry. That's
yeah,
12
oh, it's
seasons of
great,
him making me cry. And I'm like,
great.
I'm gonna hold it back this time. This is good practice. I'm like, damn it, man. Trina dies again. And it's like every time, and his
Ah,
dad
it's
gives him
tough.
that speech, right? So just those things, I like to experience it live with you guys. And that's the power of doing it live together as opposed to a replay. And then I'm here. What'd you guys just see for 3 hours?
Right.
I want to say something.
Oh, Lizzie has something. What do you want
What
Well,
do you
I
got?
want to say, Richard, I think by now you know I'm an immigrant here, and most of my education, my college degree, I went to law school. But when Ron gave me the chance to go through the lessons. Even at the very first day, I have to go through that before I attended the first Friday. Um, it when I was going through the introduction lessons, and I said, oh my gosh, oh my God, I did not know this. Even though to me, I have confidence in me that I have had good education, right? But all of this, and I love history, and I love America. So anything about America, its history, Ron would know. I even have a copy of my Constitution on my coffee table, and anyway, as an immigrant, I am right now I'm most interested in learning more about the history.
Hmm.
And I don't get bored. I may be sleepy, but I don't get bored, because to me it's like knowledge, to me it's always interesting. So whatever it is, so that's why when I listen to it, I said, you'll never know what's gonna come next, what he's gonna say next, what he's gonna show next. So I really am grateful that I'm here, and you allowed, the significant other to
Yeah.
listen, and even though just a listener, but I learned a lot. I do learn a lot because I'm more involved right now in the government and whatever happening, you know what I mean, around us. And thank you. Thank
Thank you. Thank you. Now, have you seen the Underground History of America presentation that I did?
Maybe I did.
Is it one of the ones in the pre-course?
No, it's one that I did. Um, it'll be linkable. It comes with graduation. You can see it. So it's an available thing. But it's a history that shows how the East India Company had subjugated Asia as part of their plan to bring America back into the empire. So it's a longer presentation. I did it first for Foster Gamble a couple years ago, and then we did it more officially, I think last year maybe. So there's a link that we can find, and we'll put it in the chat,
Oh,
or
I'd like.
we'll get it for Q&A. But it was like a 3.5 hour presentation on, it was a very detailed timeline of the events. And if you like history, you definitely won't find it boring.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks again. Really, I'm going to keep on for a little longer because I'm enjoying these conversations. So
Awesome.
I
Cool.
just wanted to let you know that I did appreciate it. It's interesting how when you're going through a process, how you get all these zigzags, right, in life, and and I mean the things that happen, and it seems like every week something new, right? And then it's like, well, we'll just zig that way, and okay, we'll zig the other way, right? Zag that way, and I've learned through all of my time on this planet that you just zigzag. It's just part of the process. You don't take it emotionally. You just look at it and go, okay, well, what can I do to benefit from that, right? Because out of every, you know, bizarre situation, something good comes out of it. You just have to like hunt for it. It's like it's the pony and the kid looking for the through the poop, looking for whatever, right? I mean,
I think it's just like the raindrops finding their way down the mountain. And
yeah,
when you don't have a lot of momentum, there's a lot of zigzagging. And when you find a bunch of other raindrops, you can get from A to B very
right.
quickly,
It's
you know?
true. Yeah,
And if we just try to, I, I know it's probably has a deeper philosophical meaning, but I heard it from Bruce Lee. He said, be like water, and water acts appropriately
Mm.
in these
yeah,
different circumstances. Uh, you know,
it's true.
I take wisdom where I find it, no matter how much, I know he played the Green Hornet, Kato, and, you
Oh, I
know,
love that. That was my one of my favorite shows when I was a kid.
but I can still take some wisdom where I hear it. Yeah. Be like water is a good one.
Yes. Thank you. Anyway, I don't want to take any more time. I just
Yeah. Thank you guys
listening.
both.
Mhm.
It's an honor.